I do work diligent. Now I'm mixing them up.
Come and tap in with the Jacksons. We living, we learning, we laughing. No capping, we all about action, 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 yeah, yeah. Jesus is our main attraction. We glorify him with our passions. No capping, we all about action, 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 yeah, yeah.
Tap in with the Jacksons.
Tap in with the Jacksons.
You know we about that action.
You know we about that action.
Tap in with the Jacksons.
Tap in with the Jacksons.
You know we about that action.
Yo.
Welcome back to the Jacksons in action.
Welcome back.
Welcome to the Jacksons in action.
Welcome back to the Jacksons
in
action.
Yeah.
Man, how you feeling today, baby?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm tired as a mess.
I'm tired too. I really am. But you know what? We was just praying before we started this. It was like, man, like, you know, was it you that showed me that post? It was a post by Myron Golden that he made a very controversial post talking about the work-life balance. I sent you that.
You sent it to me.
It was so powerful and it was so good for somebody to say that at his level, because so many people always do be talking about like, oh, you need to have a good balance. Like, you need to be resting just as much as you're working. In some seasons, that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
If you're going to be successful, you're going to have some seasons where you're going to have to grind it out. Now, that's not to say you're going to neglect rest, but you got to realize, like, man, if you want dreams to happen, it's not going to happen by you just praying. All right? It's not just going to happen by you having all the faith in the world. What the Bible say? We hear the scripture all the time, but are you really living it? Faith without works is what?
Dead.
It's dead. It's dead. I'm sorry to tell you, but it's dead. Can you talk to a dead person?
No.
No.
I mean, you can,
unless,
but...
you know, it'd be some weirdos out there, you know, trying to talk to some weird people saying they speaking to you. God bless. I'm sorry, but we don't believe in that over here, you know. We're not talking to no dead people.
There's stuff you can do, but you unlocking doors you don't want to open.
We ain't talking to no dead people for real. And so something dead, man, is dead. So you got to learn how to put in the work, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be some times where, like, I'd rather come home and take a nap. I just came from the gym a few hours ago. I've been here for about a few hours now. But I come home and take a nap, you know. But it's like, you know, I got to push through. Because
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I got to interrupt you. But it's funny that you said that about Myron Golden, because I was just thinking a little bit ago, I need to send you this video by him, like a full video, because it was so powerful. But he was basically talking about how, like, how do you get out of hard seasons? Like, it was like a mixture of like how to get out of hard seasons and like how do you elevate to your next kind of thing. And it was wild. And basically he was explaining how you're going to stay in your season until you get what you're supposed to get out of that season.
Wow.
Like, and he was explaining that like God literally lets it, so wild because it's like so on point with everything that God's been speaking to me on this subject here lately. But he was basically explaining that like, stop wanting your dream to happen so bad and learn to recognize that each season is meant to grow you. And you're not going to get to your dream until you have the capacity for that dream. It's crazy because like I've been listening to two people a lot lately and two completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And they're literally were saying the same things.
Wow.
Like God cares more about your character than he does about you being successful. And so he will literally hold you in a season until you develop whatever thing you're supposed to develop.
Because you got to know if you can handle it. You know, if you ain't got the right character, you ain't able to handle that. Or if you're not stored in what you already have, well, he can't trust you with more because you're just going to fumble the more that you're wanting.
But it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
Bill Johnson says, this is the other person I've been listening to a lot lately, but Bill Johnson says, God's not going to bless you until you're ready to, or until you have the capacity to carry the blessing, because he doesn't want the blessing to kill you. That's good. That's the thing, because we're so obsessed with like this purpose-driven mindset, which ladies, check out my Queen's Bible Study Facebook group because I've been talking a lot about this.
Come on, she been dropping gems.
But we so desperately want the purpose, but a lot of us aren't willing to have the character to back it up.
Facts.
And a lot
That's
of times
real.
the things that we're praying for, we don't even have the strength to carry. And like ever since I've been like thinking about this and have had this revelation, I've been paying attention to people, especially like when I'm watching movies and stuff of like successful people and the amount of stress that they're under. Bruh, it made me realize if I was in this person's shoes, I would not be okay. I'm not gonna make any comments on where I would be. I would not be okay. I would not be able to handle it because I would not be able to handle the stress that comes along with that kind of success.
Yeah.
So no wonder we've not gotten to the place that we've been praying for because we don't have the capacity for that yet. But that's why we're in this season because
And
God's
we working on
strengthening
it.
it.
Yes, working on it.
So every season, every hard season is actually training. It's like when you do push-ups, they
Right.
suck at first when you can only do 5, but you keep on going.
When you do any workout.
Yeah.
Trust me, I just left the gym tonight and I think I skipped a few days. I don't think I've been since the middle of last week. And I felt it. I felt every bit of it. It was hard.
Yeah.
You know, but if I didn't go then, the next time I was going with was going to be even harder. You know, but since I've made that decision, like, because I was going to go super late last night, but then it just got too late, and I'm like, this just not even wise for me to go out this late, you know? And so, but I was like, I told my wife, like, I got to go today, you know, and I went, and it was hard. But still, you know, you got to do what you got to do in these hard seasons in order to get to your destination. I don't want to have no dad bod, even though I'm a dad. You know, I want to get a 6-pack. I ain't never really had a 6-pack in my life, and I want to get one.
Babe,
you know?
I bet you gonna get an 8-pack.
8-pack, we'll see. We'll see what the Lord doing, but it's gonna
You
take
got
some.
it.
It's gonna take some hard work, and so that leads us to the title of this episode. And what's the title, baby?
God actually told us that we need to do better.
For real, man. We got to do better, you know? Like, I feel like that's something that God been convicting me on heavy, you know, because it's like
Same.
this year is flying by.
Yeah.
Like, it's flying by. It's literally March 5th, you know, and we're in the 3rd month of 2024. I really just been thinking, like, man, in some areas I wanted to be further along even by this point, you know, or wondering, like, okay, why this ain't happening like that, or different things like that. And God really asked me, like, are you really doing your best with everything I've put in your hands? In all areas, you know? Like, you could be doing really good in one area, but that's not the only area God calls you to, you know? So are you doing best in the other areas? And I had to really step back and look like, nah, I can really do better in this area, you know? And like, just being real. So like, one of the things is time management, which is something that's tough, you know, because what I do, of course, there can be improvement. I can do better, but also what I'm doing is making sense. You know, when it comes down to working, you got your regular 9 to 5. Then you got people that work like a middle day, like evening shift. Then you got people that work the 3rd shift. You know, and the 3rd shift normally start like at midnight to like 6 and 5 in the
11.
morning. You know, and it's, you know, people work the night
11 to
shift, and
7.
so like, yeah, something
11
like
to
that.
7.
Yeah, and so in how I work as an entrepreneur, like I really do work the 3rd shift, you know, and so like with me working the 3rd shift, I be up till 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning. So of course I'm not gonna get up at 10 if I'm going to bed at 7, you know. So I sleep in the bed till like 3, but I'm like, all right, maybe the morning shift or the graveyard shift or the late night shift, I can still do it, but let me make some tweaks to it. Maybe if I cut it off earlier, you know, maybe I can really have a hard deadline, cut it off at 5, and then, okay, I can sleep from 5 to 12, you know, because we need 6 to 7 hours. You know, I need my sleep for real, you know, and so like it's just been ways, and I haven't passed that test yet. I'm still learning, you know, because I did get up early this week, you know, because I had to for like something I had to do. But you know, like that's an area where I'm like looking at my life like, okay, I can do better in this area. What's another thing? I'm a husband. That's my first ministry. You know, I'm a father. You know, that's my ministry. You know, me and my wife, we started doing something that I think something we've been married for 5 years, over 5 years now. And I think for the first time ever, we just played games together. You know, like at the house, just us two. We didn't play games with other people, other couples, and different stuff like that. But I don't think we've
instead of
ever,
watching, like chilling and just watching Netflix.
which is what we always do. We love to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, let's switch it up. You know, let's try to have fun, because we went on a date. We got to go on our first date of the year not too long ago. And on that date, you know, we wanted to do something different on that date too, not just go out to food food and a movie. You know, it was like, let's go try to do something fun and adventurous. And we just went, I don't even know what you call that place. What? Like
it was like a, ooh.
It's not like a club.
It's like an arcade.
It's like
no, it wasn't. It wasn't a club. It was definitely not a club. It's just Atlanta, and everything feels like a club in Atlanta.
Facts.
No, it was like an arcade. We went on a date night, and we decided to switch things up. We went to eat, and we went and tried a new place out.
Yes.
Like we went to like
and we played games.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was fun.
Games.
And I was like, cool, we can do this at the house. You know, why we ain't doing this at the house? You know, and so we switched it up. And we played games, you know, and that was fun because we're not just sitting there watching the screen. We get to interact with each other, you know, so that's more time for me to do better with my wife, you know, and not just sit up and just lay, which we need those times sometimes, but, you know, do something interacting with her, you know, and so like, and I can go on and on and on like different ways I'm doing better in this season, but I like to read Proverbs, you know, read the Proverbs a day. And just kind of get wise. But it was one day I like to read the verse of the day and kind of read the chapter that go with it. And one day Colossians was one of them. And Colossians 3, the scripture was from there. It wasn't this scripture, but I was just reading Colossians 3, man. Colossians 3:23, man. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you are working for the Lord rather than for people. And I think another translation said diligently, you know, like, are you really working digitally?
Diligently.
Yeah, what she said. Not digitally. I do work now I'm mixing them up. I do work digitally. I do a lot of work digitally. But are you really working diligently? Like, for real? Like, let's be real. We don't know, the majority of us, we're adults. You done had a job before. You know, sometimes you just lollygag on your job. You know, sometimes you just really doing the bare minimum. But if Jesus was standing right before you, would you be moving like that? For real. Like, you know, so we got to work willingly, like, at everything. And work willingly, work diligently. And when you work at everything, giving it your best, then God is going to bless you with more. You know, like, just like my wife was saying with the stories, like, God can't take you to the next level. God can't give you your dreams if you're not handling what you already have. Like, just think, like, if you really look at your life, I guarantee you God done gave you some things that you prayed for, some things that you dreamed of. My wife right here, I remember praying and dreaming for my wife. Now we've been married for 5 years. The house that we're in, I remember praying. We remember praying and dreaming of this house. And now we're here. Yeah. You know? And so you gotta pray and dream, but that took praying and dreaming. You know, like God answer your dreams. You know, He gonna bless you with it, but it took work for us to get here. You know, we just didn't get here by. It was just a prayer. It took work, especially in our marriage. Yeah, it took work for us to make it to 5 years. How you feel, baby, about that?
No, well, first of all, you was preaching.
Glory be to God.
You was preaching, so that was fire. I guess where I'm at, because it's interesting, you and I are in the same place, but where I'm at personally is like, y'all, we've got to stop despising the seasons of life that we're in and recognize that God has such a bigger picture than what we see. All we see is the struggle, but God sees what that struggle is doing for us. Like I said in the beginning, like, God's not going to elevate us until we have the character to be able to sustain that new level. He's not going to bless us until we have the capacity to hold and carry that blessing without it crushing us.
That's good.
And it's so interesting. Just think about like the things that we have now. Shoot, just being parents. Could you imagine trying to go through this season of life, even like a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, at an earlier stage? Like, all of those seasons, all those hard moments were preparing us for the blessing of having our baby girl. And even right now, like, the challenges that we're experiencing now are preparing us for our future children.
Right.
The challenges that we're experiencing now are preparing us for the future blessings and the things that we're praying for. And so it's important that we stop despising the seasons that we're in and recognize like we have to renew our minds and recognize that like, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's hard, but it's shaping you and preparing you for what you want. I've said this before. Anything of value comes with a cost. Like you can't just treat something valuable any kind of way. You got to know how to treat those things.
Facts.
Which means you have to have the character and the strength to be able to manage those things. And then you can literally list anything. Our baby girl getting here.
Hard.
That was hard, okay? Her being here is hard, but like I would not trade that at all. I would not go back to not being a mom. And I really want to challenge.
That's not an option.
Well, yeah, it's not an option, but like, yeah. But I think it's important that we change our perspective because like as challenging as it is, and to be honest, today was a little bit of a rough day, like momming. But at the same time, like she's the biggest blessing. And so we got to keep ourselves positioned like in a mental space of gratefulness.
Right.
And really challenge ourselves.
Thing that we prayed for.
Yeah, because that's something we prayed for. And even if it wasn't something we prayed for, she is such a blessing to our life. But so often all we see is the challenge. And so because all we're seeing is the challenge, we overlook the blessings.
That's good.
And we got to change our perspective on what a blessing is. A blessing isn't always financial or material or easy.
Right. That's
like
good.
There's a blessing is so much deeper than that too. So yeah, I just challenge you guys to challenge your perspective on things. If you're uncomfortable, if you are unhappy, if you're just not happy in life, like I challenge you to take a step back and ask the Lord to give you a new perspective. Yeah. I challenge you to find 3 things that you're grateful for in this season. If there's something that you don't like about this season, find 3 things. Better yet, find 5 things. Even better, 10 things that you can be grateful for about that thing. And I guarantee you're
just going to keep adding to the list. And it's just going to make your heart feel better.
Not just make your heart feel better, but make you realize that you've been looking at it in the wrong way the whole time. Like, that's good. Yeah.
That's good. And that's another example of something that we've been doing better at. Of just like sitting back and be like, man, God is really answering our prayers. It is still hard. We still got things that we're working for. It's still some things that we want and even need. But we got to have a heart of just gratitude and something. So that's something that God's been challenging me to do better. Yeah. You know, and this will be the last thing I said. Another thing that I'm doing better at is like, or working hard at doing better at is I've kind of had a bad toxic relationship with money. We can get a large payment. You know, we can get a large amount of money that hit our bank account. And, you know, other people be like, oh, man, that is amazing. You know, but I'm like, this is great. But I'm already thinking about, oh, it got to go to this. And so it really ain't enough, you know. And it's like, no, it is enough. Like, because you didn't have to get that. You know, like God is blessing. You know, God is blessing. And so I challenge y'all. So we just want to leave y'all with that challenge. Like, no matter what area, if it's financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually,
if it's whether work or with
whatever,
people
family, friends, like get a heart of gratitude for what you have, and then get a heart posture of like, man, am I doing the best in what God has called me to? Am I doing the best with my work? Am I doing the best with my family? Am I doing the best with my friends, with my community? Am I doing the best with the Lord? Like, for real, like that should be number one priority. Are you really making God your priority? Are you really going to him first in everything? You know, seeking him first. And so we want to leave y'all with that challenge, man. God told us that we need to do better.
So we're doing better.
And God is, so we working at it, you know, and it's not like a overnight thing, you know, better. It's not like saying best. We're not at the best.
We're not at perfection.
We're not at perfection, and we're never going to reach perfection, you know, but we're going to keep getting better better each day, you know, getting better and better. So we challenge y'all to do the same. Like God is not just calling us to do better. He's calling every person that's listening, every person that's watching to do better. And so with that being said, baby, take it away. Y'all know what to do.
Y'all already know. If you benefited in any way, shape, or form from this podcast, be sure to let us know in the comments. Be sure to hit that like button. All these things help boost or just help us out a ton and help us get this message to more people who need to hear it. Share this with somebody else.
Most definitely share.
If you've not hit that subscribe button just yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you can know every single time we upload.
And last but not least, stay love driven.
Stay love driven.
Hey, stay love driven, man. We love y'all. Peace.
Bye.